crunch, bring it back, single leg sweep. Let me teach you how to wrestle. Okay. Let me teach you how to wrestle.
And welcome back to Wrestling Mindset. Today we're here with Jared Franek. Jared, All-American. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take it from the top a little bit. When did you start wrestling? What age? Do you have siblings that wrestle? Parent wrestle?
Yeah, so my dad wrestled. He wrestled in high school. I got two brothers, one older, one younger. Older brother's a couple years older than me, so he started us at the same time. So I think I was kindergarten or first grade when I got going, and my brother was second grade or so. So yeah, it was started from a young age and kind of just did the whole youth thing and got into it. I mean, probably fourth grade's when I really got committed to it. I'd say the first few years were kind of um, off and on. I went to tournaments. I didn't know if I liked it as much, and then it got rolling once I got a little bit older. So,
All right. And you grew up in North Dakota?
yep, yep,
Awesome. So close to, I guess, real close to Fargo. West Fargo, I see your high school here.
yep. West Fargo, and then yeah. For Fargo Nationals and things like that, it was in my backyard, sleeping in my own bed. So those things were super nice to have.
I was going to say that's got to have a pretty formative influence on a kid seeing the best guys in the country come to you.
Right. Yeah, and it was just. I mean, we'll get into, like you said, mindset things, but for me, it was easy for me to. I mean, I've seen the Fargo Dome so many times and wrestled in the area so many times that like it was easier for me to scale it down that it wasn't such a big national tournament and just go out there and wrestle like it was the tournaments I grew up wrestling in the area.
Yeah, I mean, talk about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I I played football in high school too, so we got to play our state championship game in the Dome, so I got to do that, and then wrestling at the state wrestling tournament in high school was at the Dome pretty much every year for me. So I got to experience, the pinnacle of your season in multiple different ways in that same building. So when it came time for national tournament and things like that, I was comfortable there and I wasn't. I mean, it was just another match in the place I've competed and lived by my whole life. So for me, it was easier. It's always been easier to scale things down that way and just treat it like, it's just another normal match.
Yeah, that's huge. And then talk about, okay, so you went on to North Dakota State originally, wrestled there.
Yep. Yep. So I, out of high school, I think committed junior year to North Dakota State and, um, yeah, did my 5 years there. And then because of the COVID thing, I got that extra year. And, so I got my undergrad degree and a grad degree from there. And then, yep. And then finished up at Iowa this last year. So,
Yeah, we'll talk about that decision to go there.
yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a out of nowhere kind of thing that when our coach announced he was going to leave, at NDSU, it kind of caught us off guard, and especially me being, you know, 5 years into it, I had that coaching staff for 4 years of it, and yeah, when that kind of all went down, I had a lot of things to consider, and it was, where do I want to put myself, or how do I put myself in the best position to achieve my goal with one more year left? And obviously, a lot of factors influence that, and there's outside things like, you got school, coaches, partners, training opportunities, all things like that. I graduated, like I said, I had just finished up my graduate degree there, so my schooling was finished off. I didn't have to worry about things transferring over and things like that. So I went through that recruiting process, and I was where I felt um, was the most. It was very home like for me, and the way I wrestle and my mindset and how I approach everything fit very well. As I found out with them, I mean, within like a week or two, I felt like I was adapted to a new place and philosophies and things that I have always believed in myself. So yeah, it was all I could ask for in my last year, and I'm really glad I made that decision.
Yeah, I mean, going to Iowa, what do they call it? Wrestletown, USA? I mean, Iowa City, that's
Yeah.
just unbelievable. I talk about how that enhanced your mindset. what did you already bring to the table that, you were already a Hawkeye in mind and heart, and then how that even took you to the next level?
Yeah. So what I already brought was from a very young age, what my parents instilled in me is like hard work, dedication. Like you're gonna get everything you earn, and that's one big thing. Kind of principle I grew up on, and that's one of the things they preach there is you get what you earn. Whether it be a major decision in a match or a win in a match or getting to your end goal. If you don't put in the work yourself, they can do what they can to help you, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you, especially in our sport. Being out there alone, I mean, nobody's gonna pick up the slack for you if you're not feeling it one day. So that was a big thing, and then just the way they wrestle, the way they've always wrestled. I always try to give it everything I have every time I go out there and try to score points and try to leave the mat exhausted because you gave it everything you had effort wise. So those are big things they preach that I feel like I brought, and it was and matched what they were looking for. Um, and then yeah, just to have something I never had when I got there was the RTC room with past guys like Marinelli and Young and Ironman, Lugo, Spencer Lee, DeSanto, guys like that um really pushed me in ways that I've never been pushed before in college, aside from, coming in as a freshman. So it was really good for me um to take those kind of learning lessons and see things from a little different perspective, getting to wrestle guys like that. And I think that enhanced my wrestling, I mean, a ton to be able to experience those tough matches in the room, but I mean, not just in March. So
Yeah, now talk about maybe some of the lesser known things about Iowa, because we all see the image that's portrayed, right? But also just in general, what are some things that you see maybe behind the scenes on, how they've dealt with you, how they dealt with the guys, maybe some things that aren't as well known.
yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the support they have there. The support, obviously, they have Hawkeye support. I mean, they fill the place every time, but I'm talking like the support of the whole team encompassing. I mean, from the director of ops to the coaching staff to the RTC guys to, everybody's got their own role within the team. And then we got our, team doctors, chiropractors, all those people that, I mean, for me, especially as a 6 year, like I needed things like that to be able to feel my best and to be able to wrestle my best. So having those guys behind the scenes, working on my body for things that, I didn't even know how to fix him. I just thought it hurt. And, they'd dive into, this is causing this up here. So we're going to do this. And, next thing I know, the next day, I don't really feel it. And, um, and that stuff I don't think people see when they just, they see your coaches and they see the guys on the team and they think that's all that goes into trying to win wrestling matches. And it's not. So, that's one of the kind of behind the scene things. And then just, just the coaching, the relationships. I mean, when I got there, I only got 9 months with those coaches, but a few months in, I felt like I'd been wrestling for them for a while, and to be able to go into a new program of that, you know, of Iowa, that magnitude, and having coaches listen to what I think I need for my body because they know that I'm not one to cut corners to be lazy, but if I need to be off the mat for a day, it's because my body needs it, and they trusted that, and that was huge for me. So I think a lot of people think, everybody does the same thing in the program and it's all whatever, but I mean, from first years to 6 years to transfers, they really make it about what you need individually. Obviously, there's team workouts, but a lot of it was individual based stuff that um, I felt like enhanced my wrestling a lot this year. And um, sometimes in the past, I feel like I didn't get as much flexibility within that until I maybe earned it as an older guy. So that was big.
What are some of the ways you've developed your mindset over the years in terms of dealing with pressure, in terms of keeping yourself relaxed? treating it the same as any other competition, any other match, ways that you're able to bring yourself back if you feel yourself going overboard.
Yeah, for sure. Just having mental self-talk's been probably my biggest um tool in better than any one of my physical moves that of wrestling. So um I developed that. I tried to develop that in high school a little bit, but I didn't really until I got my first year, my redshirt freshman year of college. And I've read a few different books on it, like 10-minute toughness routine we read at or I read when I got to Iowa, and I'd read a few other mind books.
The time is now to take your mindset to the next level with Wrestling Mindset. Make sure you go to our website, WrestlingMindset.com, and sign up for your free trial session today. Don't wait any longer. You want the mental edge right now. When you sign up for the free trial session, you're also going to get a copy of our free ebook, Building the Predator Mindset. This book has helped thousands of people build confidence, relax under pressure, get motivated, and build mental toughness in wrestling, school, and life. Make sure you sign up for your free trial session today.
Leading up to that, and just try to get, a background of information and then find what works for me. So, just mental self-talk was the biggest thing for me. Just positive confidence, like, kind of go through that in my head before my match, imagery, see where I need to be, but never to the point where it was like psyching myself out or like too much time there where I start like I'd say one of the things that I struggled with early on was like sometimes I do that like at night because I heard, like you want to do it all times a day and like imagine that, but I do it before bed and I'd like get myself too hyped up and then I'd struggle to sleep. So for me it was timely, so I had to find like a good time of the day, and a lot of times it was before workouts to get focused and get ready, but I was never trying to get my heart rate too high. Um I never really listen to music before matches. I kind of get in my own headspace and stay calm as long as I can, and um like I said, just go through that self-talk routine and imagine imagery of me hitting shots I'm going to hit and then go out there and execute. So,
Yeah, I like what you said there about not necessarily visualizing at nighttime. I mean, it seems like it's a good thing to do, but then, like you said, then you just wind up staying up later, and then it's really not helping. Then it's harder to go to sleep. Better to do it at a different time, and
yep.
and again, being a good coach to yourself, being able to talk yourself up, mental, the self-talk. I mean, we're always talking to ourselves. It's just, are we consciously putting in good thoughts, or are we just kind of going with the flow and letting whatever happens to happen that day pop into our mind, which, you don't want to leave it to chance. I mean, I'd assume there was probably a go-to of things that you would tell yourself before your matches to get that consistent mindset, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would go through kind of just control my breathing, a couple deep breaths, and then I would, remind myself, that why they're like, go do this, hands, feet moving, like go execute, you get in a leg, you finish, things like that. And then just self-talk and confidence of like, you've done this before, you would just go do your thing. And then I like to finish it off by like, say, be Jared Franek, be you. Like that was big for me. I feel like early on in my career, I was always trying to be somebody else or trying to like, who that guy was before, try to wrestle as hard as them. But it was what I found best for me was just be me and go out there and do what I do. So
which matches do you feel like you were the most yourself? Like not even necessarily the biggest wins or anything, but like I feel like that was me out there.
I think throughout the year, I mean, I always find myself doing better at tournaments than duels, and I don't know why. I think as tournaments go on and I get more matches, I feel better and I'm able to get in that routine and roll. So sometimes in duels, I felt like I only had 7 minutes to do it and I didn't execute good enough. And then it was, I'll wait another week before, you get a chance. So I think at the Big Tens and at Nationals, there's a couple Big Tens with the quarters match with Rob. I wrestled really just well execution and like felt like myself, I guess you could say. And then um, first or like the second match in nationals, I think it was even though it was a very low scoring match, I was still shooting, I was still trying to score, and um, it really put me in no danger at all. And that's kind of where I wanted to, be. I wanted to score more points, but it's the way it worked out. So I'd say towards the end of the year, I really got back to exactly how I wanted to wrestle.
Now, before your matches, would you do any kind of drilling before then? Or, I mean, I know the team always, there's always like a warm up, but outside of the warm up, closer to the match, was there ever any kind of drilling or hand fighting just to kind of get that feel before you step out there?
Um, yeah, so I fiddled with that throughout my career. Sometimes the biggest thing for me was being ready when I got out there. So doing a warm up and sitting for an hour and a half and then just going out was not best for me. Um, but at the same time, going out there and hitting a 15-minute whatever and sweating hard and like kind of getting some, losing some energy that way wasn't necessarily my best option either. So I kind of found a balance of, I'd go with my teammate Caliendo and we go at a certain weight in duels and we hit, 5 minute little spike, just get our heart rates up, but break a little sweat, and then I'd just stay warm until my match came up. Is usually what I'd do.
When did you guys do that? Get that sweat going? Like when you're on deck, or like one or two to go? Or?
Usually two to go. Usually two to go, 2.5. With duels, there was like minute breaks, so I'd say it was about 15 to 20 minutes before I'd go. About so.
Awesome, awesome. That's great stuff because a lot of guys are wondering what's the best way to not warm up, but pre-match routine, like those 15 to 20 minutes right before you go out there. And like you said, with the self-talk, with some of that hands-on drilling, that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So what does the future look like for you? What's coming up?
I'm still trying to figure that out. So right now I'm back home. I'll be heading back to Iowa for a little bit, and then uh, this summer I'm just doing a bunch of wrestling camps. So I did it, kind of did it last summer too, but um, yeah, just trying to fill up my schedule and help out, show what I know, and I like to go around to different clubs and see what I mean. Everybody's got a little bit something different, so um, yeah, I enjoyed doing that last summer, so I look to do it again this summer and try to figure out what's next, I guess, in the next few months. So
Now you said you're going back to Iowa, you're staying home.
I'm going back to Iowa for a little bit, and then I'll probably go home for the summer. So
All
yeah.
right. How often is Gable around? Do you see him often?
Yeah, he's around a decent amount. He's came into quite a few practices, and usually see him after pretty much every duel or thing like that. So it's pretty cool to.
Uh,
I mean, obviously, as a kid, that's we've had a Gable poster on our wall for my whole
Oh yeah.
life. So
I
pretty
got I
cool.
got one right above my desk, right up here. It says, "Determination is strength needed to succeed." So whenever I feel like slacking off and I'm working, well, there's Gable staring at me.
There you go.
Any good Gable stories or anything that's happened recently that we don't know of, or anything remarkable that sticks out in your head since when you got to Iowa, or something you've seen with him? People love Gable
Um,
stories.
yeah, I mean, there's a ton of Gable stories. I don't know if there's anything I've experienced. It's more just stories I've been told. But he's came up to me after all those duels I've seen him at and kind of told me his like what he saw and things like that. So that was pretty cool to be. I mean, he's still coaching. He's not coaching, but he's still coaching, and that's pretty cool to, you know, try to see outside the box, look back as that 8-year-old kid I was wrestling and fast forward being coached by Gable is pretty cool. So
Right. Brands Brothers too. It seems like every year or two or three they come out that there's another Brands Brothers special that comes out that
oh
I'll
yeah.
always watch on the day it comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Those coaches are awesome. I mean, being on the inside of that team, it really was a very tight knit group, and there's nobody that'll fight for you like those coaches will. So that's been awesome to experience that, and um, like I said, it's pretty intimidating going there with the Brands brothers and all that, but I felt welcome, and I felt like we were on the same page from the start. So it was really, really good, smooth transition.
Awesome. Did I ask you about what clubs you went to growing up? I don't know if I asked.
I don't think so.
Did you go anywhere? Any other coaches that have had a big influence on you?
Yeah. So out of Fargo, I went to tech team. We went over to tech team, I think in, what was it, third, fourth grade. And they were a pretty well established club. Ryan Kringley was the head guy of that club, and I got pushed pretty. I mean, I got pushed pretty good there. We had a lot of, I mean, college wrestlers, Fargo national champs that came out of that club, and multiple All-Americans that came out. So it was that was probably when I moved over there as a kid, that was a big thing, a big, you know, in my wrestling career, I saw myself. I didn't see it in time, I guess, but I got a lot better very quickly going to that club, and then um, I had great coaches in high school too. I had three different coaches, but um, Ben Brogan, Cale Dangrud, and Kevin Fimbo. Kevin Fimbo was probably the most influential coach I've ever had. I had him for a couple years, and uh, he was the first one to kind of take. We went out to Flow Nationals, somewhere I never been out to an Eastern tournament, and kind of showed the country what I was made of, I guess you could say at that point. But he was a few years out of college, and he just he did the extra stuff that was super nice. He was fresh out, so he was wrestling with me, and then we would go lift. He got me into lifting and lifting, wrestling, kind of that college style as a high schooler. So that was a big help for me also.
That's awesome. Now, it's always a good thing when we give a shout out to those guys who helped, make you the wrestler that you became, and I'm sure they're all extremely proud. That's great stuff.
Yeah, I'm very, very thankful for him. So
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jared. Great stuff. Really good information there. We appreciate it.
no problem.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
All right, bye.